Hello and welcome back to Retro Haven, guys. Gaming today is a funny business and it's guaranteed to milk any game by releasing it for every possible gaming system under the sun. But 20 something years ago, this was not as frequent as it is today. Resident Evil 1 was one of the pioneers of having more ports than developers' wildest dream. And we are officially in a part of our retrospective to take a look at Resident Evil 1 ports. This is Daniel from Retro Haven and welcome to Resident Evil Retrospective Part 5. Before we start, I gotta say that we are not professional port analysis masters like some other channels. We lack the knowledge, money, and a lot more to having all the ports and being able to analyze them. But we will take a look at them nonetheless, to give you a general view of what the ports have to offer. Original release. Original release is the most well-known version of this game. But the most amazing thing is that how many versions of the original release was given to the players around the world. The first release in this category was Biohazard for PlayStation 1 back in 1996. Soon after that, Resident Evil was released for US and Europe regions, all in the same year, but later that year the PC version was released as well. Sega Saturn was another host for Resident Evil and owners of this console received the game in 1997. But the $1,000,000 question is that, is there any difference between these ports? The answer is yes. These games all have different resolution outputs to begin with, and different things such as color and transparency effect are different based on the console power. So, content-wise, the most important difference we can point is very important. In Sega Saturn version, we have one not so amazing and two amazing things that we were missing in the original release on PlayStation 1. The first thing will hit you in the face right after you start the game, and that is the intro cutscene. The Saturn version has the uncensored intro with all the blood and gore intact, and that makes a new spectate for Resident Evil fans such as myself to behold. The next thing in the Sega Saturn version is another improvement right off the bat: auto-aim. Yes, the original game did not have the auto-aim, but the Sega Saturn console made the auto-aim available for all the Resident Evil 1 players. Okay, it's time to get spooky. I have saved the best for the last. The last one is the most important one. In the Saturn version of Resident Evil 1, you can find Albert Wesker as a freaking zombie. This port had a minigame that was called Battle Game. And this battle game was the first time that you had a glimpse of what later became Mercenaries. This minigame set you on a timer to kill everything you can, and the best thing that has to offer is a zombie Wesker and a golden tyrant. So yes, in my book, a real Albert Wesker is a dead man in Resident Evil game. And all those nonsense about his revival and stuff was not in the original plan. But let me tell you another fun fact about zombie Wesker. Even with a couple of magnum shots, you will not be able to blow his head off, and he's like a mini boss. The last thing I can point on this port is that it is officially labeled Jill as easy mode and Chris as hard mode. Okay, the next port that we want to go through is Director's Cut. This version is there courtesy of Resident Evil 2 Drama, which we will tackle in the later installments. Since Resident Evil 2 was not ready for the initial planned release in 1997, Mikami changed some aspects of the original game such as music and small gameplay tweaks, and then released the game as Director's Cut. The main changes that were made were small things, the beginner mode was an extra easy mode for newcomers who could not tolerate the difficulty level of the original release, and the arrange mode was nothing like the arrange mode that you know in Resident Evil 2 or 3. Instead, it was something that would make a randomizer out of the game. It would change the placement of the items, enemies and keys, and you had to go through all the hell to find the key item that you used to pick in some certain spot. New outfits, minor changes in the weapons, and auto-aim were other new things in this version. But what I felt was the most unique thing about this port was the zombie frost. Yes, in this game, if you played multiple times, you would have eventually faced a zombified forest in the balcony. And just imagine how cool it was for the 13-year-old me. Okay, now it's time to tackle the DualShock version. This is the most unnecessary version in my opinion. As a matter of fact, I can't think of any special thing beside the rumble effect and being able to use analog stick for this version. But if you have watched our previous video, you know that I hate anything that hurts the tank control for this kind of game. And analog for the tank control make Chris or Jill into a drunk person that might go and hug a zombie in any single corner. Okay guys, it's time to see what Deadly Silence has for us. To be honest, this is one of the best versions of Resident Evil 1. This game was released for Nintendo DS on the 10th anniversary of the original release, and it had a lot to offer. New modes for items and enemy placement, new gameplay elements such as Master of Knifing, and a lot more was added to this game. The Master of Knifing was a mini game that you could use the touch capabilities of Nintendo DS and knife the enemies in the first person view. There was some other amazing things as well. For example, when you tried to help Richard, you have to give him PCR by blowing into DS microphone. If you blew too hard, the blood would splash out of his wounds. Since the DS had two screens, you could see the map all the time in one of the screens, and your location was live in the map. So my overall feeling toward this port was a mixture of nostalgia and happiness. So it was positive all over. Okay guys, before we end this video, there was another version which we could look at this, but we can say it's a bonus version. You might not believe that a version of Resident Evil 1 was planned for Game Boy Color, but this version never saw the light of the day. The remaining screenshots and videos are showing some promising game for the system, and maybe it was a good thing that we never see this game released, because some weak graphics and some weak performance could hurt Resident Evil name beyond repair. Okay guys, thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, please like and share it with others to help us grow and find more awesome audience such as yourself. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and click on the bell icon to get notified about our latest videos. With that said, I'm Daniel from Retro Haven, and I will see you in the next video.